ready for questions if you guys have any, or if you
yeah, I've got
get
plenty.
on to your jobs, that's good too.
The Public Records Law, Chapter 66, has no teeth to it. The Valley Patriot's been waiting since February to get Freedom of Information documents from the City of Lawrence. Even after a Superior Court judge ordered them to turn them over, they still haven't turned them over. Why, to the representatives and the senator, why is there a public records law with no teeth in it, with no penalty? And in the next session, will you guys do something about that and put some kind of fine so that the taxpayers of a community don't have to pay the fine if an elected official or an appointed official violates it, but the people who actually violate it have to pay the fine?
Tom, if the law is going to have integrity, it has to be enforceable and it has to be respected. And to the extent that this law, like any other law, is not being respected, then we need to revisit that in the next session. And I know that we're going to look at it. I know that we're going to try to find meaningful penalties so that the folks that are withholding information pay a consequence for violating the law and doing it with what appears to be, from your description, a flagrant disregard for the law. That's not acceptable. You know, we have all looked at that issue and looked at the public records law. For instance, we looked at it in the context of the Governor's Council, in my case, and trying to make it more applicable to other governmental bodies. It's not going to do us any good if the ones that are already subject to it aren't paying attention and aren't respecting it. So we will look at that, and I know that we're going to have a good discussion about it, and I know that the four people standing up here will hopefully all be members of the next legislature to be able to drill down into it and see what we can do to make it work right.
Do you guys all agree?
I talked in my comments that we need more transparency and we need a more balanced approach in the legislature so that we can actually debate these types of issues. For too long, there are ideas up there that aren't even allowed to be debated on the floor of the House. This is one of those, and that's why we think Corinne is so important to the caucus and to bring balance so that we can offer these legislative ideas, and we will not only be able to hear them in committee, but we get to hear them on the floor of the House of Representatives. So yes, you do have my word that we will look at that law.
I would echo what Bruce and Brad said. Having been a local official, I think there's a lot of different ways of approaching it, whether it's something that's a fine on the person who's specifically standing in the way of getting those records out, particularly when it's already been indicated that people are entitled to those records. I think there are many ways of putting greater influence on potentially a whole community where someone works who's violating the law. So there are a lot of different avenues to do that, and I think Bruce is right. You know, one of the things that we're very fond of in the legislature is passing more laws, but oftentimes we have laws in the books that we're not already taking advantage of or putting the teeth behind to get the results we desired. So I think you have a commitment from, if you will, Bruce, Brad, and Brad, the three Bs, if you will, and Corinne, when she gets there, to look at this and try to come up with some creative ways to putting some more teeth, and quite frankly, putting maybe giving some more tools to the people in charge of enforcing the law, and maybe giving them some more impetus to do their job too.
Corinne, anything?
Yep, I would also add to that, you have a constitutional right, we all do, to freedom of the press, and whenever anybody's voice is suppressed, that needs to be addressed immediately and forcefully. I'm sorry that I am not your representative yet. I hope to be. If I earn the vote and am elected in November 6th, I promise you to be the representative to take your voice to Beacon Hill and tell them to address the situation and work with my colleagues to be able to address the situation so that you are guaranteed your constitutional rights.